Broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by Patriot Patch Company. PatriotPatch.co.
Welcome to episode 216 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand. This is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. And we have Zack Carlson joining us of Lone Wolf, and he's a gun writer. He's a former Fat to Fit and back again, and lover of McDonald's chocolate ice cream or vanilla.
Vanilla ice cream. They don't have a chocolate ice cream, Jake. If you would know that, you would be better off.
Yeah, but is their ice cream machine ever working?
Around here, it seems to be. I don't know. It haven't failed me yet.
And we have Aaron Samuelson of the Off-Road Podcast joining us. Hey, Aaron.
Hi, thanks for letting me show up.
Thanks for showing up. I saw you got a little stuck. You almost didn't make it.
Well, that was a couple days ago, but yeah, I got really stuck.
So Aaron drives this big military truck. What do you drive? It's
called a LMTV, light medium tactical vehicle. It's basically a cargo truck. The designation is M1078. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got 46-inch tires.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big. It gets 7 miles to the gallon. Yeah.
I'm looking at pictures of it. It looks actually pretty cool. It almost looks like what I used to see, like the missile carriers, like those cab over style. It looks like one of those like Isuzu NP trucks, like the little tiny trucks, but just radioactive, basically.
Yeah. They made a missile carrier version of that truck. I don't know what the M number was, but they made a 4x4 and a 6x6 version, and they made some with boxes on the back or cranes on them or missile carriers or all kinds of stuff.
And you parked this in your driveway?
Well, I bought a farm here in Oregon, and so I can drive it wherever I want on the farm.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. So a couple episodes we were talking about escaping Illinois while in Zack's journey to Washington State. And so I guess you lived in Washington State for a while, and now you've moved to Oregon?
Oregon.
That's correct. Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Portland, Oregon. When my parents split up when I was a preteen, I moved to Washington with my dad. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares about that stuff? But anyways, I lived in Washington for quite a while.
Were your parents
and then, no, not like yours.
Wow, sick burn.
I thought that's what he said a couple episodes back.
No, that's what Zack said.
That's what Zack said about your parents?
Yeah. My mom listens, so thanks a lot.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I didn't say it was a bad thing.
No, it's not. Yeah, I think he's got a great mom. Well, I'm glad we're not doing a video chat because I'm bright red right now.
I have a question about this LTV though. LMTV, is it bigger than a deuce and a half, like lengthwise and widthwise, or is it roughly that size? It's hard to tell because there's nothing in scale.
It's actually shorter. If you had a 4-door pickup truck that had an 8-foot bed, it's basically the same length as that.
Oh,
the cab over really shrinks them. Yeah, it's 21 and a half feet long. It fits in the parking stalls at McDonald's if I need to get chocolate ice cream.
Well, that'd be a hell of a feat if you can get chocolate ice cream at McDonald's. So what do all the people at Whole Foods think about this when you're there?
I don't go to Whole Foods, but I have dropped my daughter off to preschool in it a couple times. It's great. You get lots of looks in this giant army truck.
And what do these things go for, price-wise, roughly?
You can get them on government auctions for a couple grand, not running. And if you get lucky, it just takes $1,000 worth of batteries and it'll run for you. Or it might have a blown motor. You just have no idea at the auctions. There's a lot of people nowadays that are buying them and reselling them. I paid, after I had to put some tires on it, I paid about $16 for mine. Some people buy them, they change all the fluids, new tires, and they put a coat of paint on them and sell them for $30,000. So it's quite the widespread.
I take it this is not your daily driver, though, right?
No, it's not. No.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's cool, though. I always wanted a deuce and a half, but then my senses kind of come to me and say, what the heck would I do with a deuce and a half once I had it? Like, it's cool to have, but I don't know what I would
whatever you
do.
want with it.
I guess, yeah.
I've taken it camping. I've gone grocery shopping. I went to Lowe's and picked up 2 bags of cement and a 4x4 fence post.
So everything I can do with my wife's Nissan Rogue so far. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
But with 7 miles to the gallon.
Exactly. We were planning on the off-road podcast. We're planning a trip to Christmas Valley, which is in the dead middle of high desert Oregon. And they're like, "Oh man, you really should take the LMTV." And like, I calculated the cost of fuel, and I'm like, "Oh man, my pickup truck gets twice the fuel economy, and gas is cheaper than diesel in Oregon State." It's like, I just can't justify spending that much money just to drive it there. So I try to keep it local.
Well, all that means is that now you need to buy a semi and a trailer to pull it to wherever you need to go.
Well, those things don't get much better fuel economy.
That's true. So how did you get it stuck?
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
So the farm that I bought, I actually bought it with my sister. That's one of the reasons why I moved to Oregon, was to be closer to family. And we went on this piece of property together, 43.5 acres. And we have about 3 or 4 acres of our properties across the road from our house. And it's this long, skinny slice of pie. And it's not really good for doing hay on like the rest of the property. So we decided we're going to turn it into a dirt bike track.
Oh, cool.
I've got 3 nephews and a niece, and I've got a son and a daughter, and we'd like to get them all on some sort of ATV or dirt bike. And so a couple days ago, we walked the whole piece of property looking at what we could do, some whoops here, jump there, some pipes or whatever the kids call them nowadays. And I was just real jazzed about the walk. And I was like, you know what? That really big, tall tree, bushy scrub brush area, I bet you I could get the army truck through that. And so the next day I gathered up 2 of my nephews and my son and jumped in the truck, and we drove out there, and we're just plowing through the sagebrush, trees that were taller than my truck. And then there's this one spot, and it's a low spot, and I drove through it. And as I drove through it, I noticed it was kind of wet in there. But I not a big thing. I just pulled right through and kept on driving around. I pulled through that spot a second time, plowed right through it. No big deal. The third time I went through, my tire, and as you go through this spot, it's low and it goes into the ditch of the side of the road, and you pop out on the road. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like pop out on this gravel road right in front of a car out of these trees out of nowhere in your army truck? And so I was like, I'm going to go for it again. And I go for it again, and I hit a culvert, the end of a culvert with my tire, and it just stopped me dead. And so I went to back up, and I couldn't back up, and I tried to go forward, and I couldn't go forward. So, it was a mud bog. It was just a pit of mud, and I don't know if it had a bottom. So I spent the next 3 hours. Well, I went home and had dinner, and then I spent the next 3 hours after having dinner winching it out with my daily driver, which is my off-road rig.
So is yours a 4x or a 6x?
It's a 4x4, but it has open differentials. So if one tire spins, the other side spins, and same in the front. So no lockers on it. And
do they make lockers for it?
There's an aftermarket solution for that. I haven't put the money into it.
Huh. So is it? It's cool looking and everything. So is it as capable as like a regular off-road vehicle, or is it just kind of cool because it's Army cool?
It's mostly cool because it's Army cool. But I mean, I was literally driving over giant things and up steep inclines and stuff like that, which you could probably do in a capable off-road vehicle, but most of it is just the cool factor.
That's cool.
I've gotten it. This is the third time I've gotten it stuck. So
it sounds worse and worse as an off-road vehicle.
I know. I think though, if you stay out of mud, it'll be fine.
Right.
Well, where is mud found, Jake? Is that off-road or on-road?
It kind of sounds like it's off-road to me.
Wow. Okay, so if you stay off-road, it might get stuck, but it's an off-road vehicle. I don't know how that equates, but okay.
You just got to go when it's summertime and the mud is dried up.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Well,
is it a lot heavier than a normal vehicle?
It weighs 17,700 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's part of your problem right there, right? Just because it sinks.
Yeah, it weighs almost 3 times as much as my pickup truck.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, Jake, is this your inspiration for getting a farm? Is you heard you can have a farm in an Army truck and an
Army truck? Yeah,
absolutely. No, I am jealous. I've seen you post pictures of your place. It's pretty cool. It's out there in the country and looks like you can do anything you want.
It's so peaceful. We've got chickens. I was shooting at a coyote last week. We've got bobcats that frequent the property, big elk herd. Because we own enough property, for every 20 acres, you can get something called a landowner use permit, which lets you hunt on your property for anything that's in the hunting catalog of things you can hunt in Oregon.
Does that include man?
The greatest.
No, it doesn't include. No, it doesn't.
Huh. Wait, you just said you were shooting at coyotes. That implies that you missed said coyote.
Oh, I missed really, really, really good. It was a really good miss, right? So I don't have any experience hunting, zero. And in fact, I didn't even own a hunting rifle until Christmas this year. And it was a gift from my mother-in-law. She gave me her husband's hunting rifle that he used the most. And
did he know about it?
So no, he doesn't, because he's passed away. So no, he doesn't know that I have it.
That makes much more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do know that that's supposedly zeroed at 100 yards. So I threw 2 shells in it, knowing that I tried shooting it earlier in the year and it was all gummed up. So I didn't expect it to, it's a semi-auto 30-06 Browning. So I didn't expect it to chamber the second round. So that's why I only put 2 in it. And my oldest nephew, who's 16, I gave him my 17 HMR, which had 5 rounds in it. And it was also dialed at 100 yards with the scope. So I'm guessing that the coyote was 220 to 250 yards away. And I have no idea how much to hold over on said coyote. And we got all 7 rounds out at the coyote before it finally decided to leave the property, but it wasn't really scared. It would dance a little bit when it hear the noise, and it was pouncing on field mice in the lower field.
Wow. Yeah, because at 200 yards, he probably should have been scooting. See, that's pretty close. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, what'd you do in guns this week, since Aaron already covered his?
Missing a cat. Well, I didn't take a shot, but so I guess I missed every shot I didn't take. But did I tell you that I got a P10S, a CZ P10S? I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but so CZ, I love that CZ P10C that they came out with a few years ago. I guess familiar with the P10C, it's basically like a Glock 19 style CZ, striker fired, 15 rounds. It fits in actually most Glock 19 holsters as well. I did an article for that gun, and I had it fully custom did with stippled frame, Cerakoted, machine slide, all the great stuff on it. I love that gun. That gun feels like laser beams coming out of my hands. And CZ came out with a full size and a subcompact version of that same gun, and they're making it in the States now. So I asked them for a subcompact model, which is a 12 round instead of a 15 round gun. It's just big enough where I can get my hand to not tuck the pinky. Like a Glock 26 for me, my pinky just tucks underneath the mag, and you get a 3-finger grip on it. Well, the P10S, I can get all my fingers on it. Now, I notice when you're shooting it kind of bites my pinky just a little bit, just under the recoil, but it does give me a full grip. And it's wide enough that it has the interchangeable optic plates on it. So I've been doing a couple videos on that. I'm kind of writing that up, but then they finally sent me the optics plate for it as well. So I swapped it onto, I swapped an RMR that I had on an AR-15 over to this gun. And it looks pretty good with an RMR on it. So I'm hoping to take that out this weekend and go into sight it in and get it all zeroed, because the Red Dot class I'm taking, the Modern Samurai Project Red Dot class in May, I'm going to bring this gun as a backup gun to my Glock just in case for any reason I got a gun malfunction. So at least I'll have 2 Red Dot guns there.
Cool.
What's the Modern Samurai Project?
It's Scott, I think it's pronounced as Jedlinski. He's basically... He's kind of regarded as one of the forefront red dot pistol class instructors. And so they call him Jedi. He travels all over the place. I think he's actually like a mortgage originator guy. He's not really in the tactical world so much, but he does all these classes. I knew a guy, Caleb Giddings, that took his class when he was down in Florida. And Caleb is a trainer for the Air Force, firearms instructor, and he's taken a lot of classes. And I said, hey, how was it? And he just said, legitly, this is the best class I've ever taken. And so I was like, wow, all right. So I saw that he was coming up to north of Seattle by about an hour. So I saw he was coming. I said, hey, can I come? And he said, sure. So I got an article for it about attending your first pistol class, and I'm going in May. So I'm really excited because it's just a different mindset on the pistols with red dots on them versus all the traditional training. So supposedly he's fantastic. I guess we'll see second week of May.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Now the CZ or the red dot that I put on the CZ, I'll be curious how it is on a pistol because it's a 1 minute of angle, 1 MOA dot size on this red dot. So on my normal dot, I carry a 3 1/4 dot, and then a lot of people carry the 6 minutes, the bigger dots. So this 1 minute dot is really small, but it's more precise. That's why I like it on the rifle. But I'm going to time myself on the pistol to see if it's slow for me because with that small dot, you might tend to try to get the dot exactly in the center of the crosshairs or in the target instead of just kind of pulling the trigger when you're close enough, kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see.
You have to wear your glasses to see that.
Well, yes, I have to wear my glasses regardless because I'm turning into a blind person. But
something I didn't bring up. I noticed you wear glasses now. When did that happen?
Well, when you sit in front of a computer for like 10 hours out of the day, your eyes kind of go to crap on you. And I realized that I had an astigmatism too, because I never really realized red dots, what they're supposed to look like to normal people. And I just always assumed it kind of looked like a comma or like a bean. And I guess I don't have it that bad because I know some people can see like comet streaks behind their red dots and all that, but mine just kind of look funny. They don't look quite like a circle. And so I got glasses. I've had them for probably 2 years now, probably something like that. So I like them. I don't think I could do contacts. I don't think I could poke my eye.
Yeah, I couldn't do that either. Yeah.
I should try them, but I think I just have an aversion, like especially when you have to squeeze your eye to get them off. That just freaks me out.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. But the 1 minute dot on a rifle is really nice because your head is right behind it. You don't have that out at your shooting stance distance from you like you do with a pistol. So I'll give it a shot. If I don't like it, I'll get another red dot for the backup gun. But I figured while I had it on a rifle, I was able to just swap it over real quick. But the other thing that I'm doing is, do you remember, was it last show or the show before where I talked about range bags? But man, I told you I was swimming in range bags.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, now I'm swimming in 1022s. So I picked up an article for writing about this chassis system. So it's Ruger Chargers. So you can make a pistol version of a 1022. So I got a chassis system, got a brace and everything, and put a 4.5 inch barrel on it. So even standard velocity ammo is subsonic, put the suppressor on it, made a really cool little like quote unquote PDW type gun. And I pitched that and they're like, oh yeah, let's do an article on that. And I'm like, okay, good. And I just told the company that I got the chassis from, PMACA, I don't know how you pronounce it, PMACA. And they said, oh, great. We should send you all the different versions of the chassis too, so you can show them all the different configurations you can get. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And then I realized the implications of said decision. So now I am having, instead of one, I've got 4 different layouts I've got to accomplish. So I'll have a rifle that's based on the 1022. Then I'll have 3 pistols, or actually I'll have 2 rifles, 2 pistols, one with a takedown, one is a regular rifle, and then 2 in different pistol configurations. So I'm amassing parts right now, and they're all starting to come in. But it's like I have all the parts, but nothing enough to build at least one full gun. Like every gun is missing something. And so I've spent nights after nights just writing down like, okay, this chassis is going to get this combination of parts, and then this one's going to get this combination. So my safe is literally full of receivers with sticky notes on them saying what all the parts that need to go on that once I get all the parts. So it's a little overwhelming, but I think it'll be really cool when it's done.
Cool. And you mentioned we need to do a show sometime on 10/22s, which let's do that later this year after I can actually get out and shoot. But I think that would be a cool show.
Yeah, I'm actually going to use one of them. Remember that I had that 10/22 I had for my 16th birthday. I think that's one we've shot with before out in Illinois, and I'm actually repurposing that into a whole new gun with a Volquartsen carbon barrel and chassis system and everything. So it's cool to be able to take a gun that you didn't shoot a lot because you just it's kind of more nostalgic than anything, and then just refreshing the whole thing and getting a whole new lease on life on it.
Yeah, that's cool. And I don't know if I told you, but my dad gave me his 10/22 that I used to play around with when I was a kid. So
cool.
So yeah, we could do a nostalgia episode.
Well, what I did with that gun is I engraved the barrel with my name on it and the date that I got it, just so it would discourage me from ever selling it.
Oh my goodness.
Because I have a terrible habit of just trading guns with no rhyme or reason. Like, whatever, I'll get another one later. And I was like, this one is one of the very few special ones that I shouldn't sell.
All right. And what did I do in guns? I didn't do anything in guns because, I am in the process of finding a place to move to where I can actually shoot on my own property. So I guess that's something.
So how is that search going?
It's going. I'm working with a realtor now. It got approved by the lender and everything, and working with a realtor, and just a matter of something popping up on the market that interests me enough to make the journey to look at it. But there's a few good ones, pretty good ones right now, but I feel like there's going to be something even better in the next couple of weeks. So.
And you really did pick a place that you cannot get to easily. like you have, I looked at the airfare to the little regional airport there in Sioux Falls, and it was like, oh my God, it's like $1,300 to fly from, I think it was there to Chicago. And I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah. Forget flying. It's driving. But it keeps the in-laws away. So
I guess. No, or it'll just turn them into wanting to stay longer to make the trip worth it.
Oh
dear!
Don't even.
And you're gonna have all that. You're gonna have all that space for them to stay at and everything too. What if they just pull an RV over there and stay the summer?
They don't have one, thank goodness.
Well, they might buy one.
Got to come see the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so. So Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch a Month Club at Patriot Patch Company, where you can get a exclusive limited edition patch delivered to your mailbox once every month, and you can only get it through the Patch of the Month Club. So check it out, patriotpatch.co. So main topic, what is a bare minimum arsenal to cover most your bases, like home defense, self-defense, survival, and just for fun?
This kind of spun out. This just for people. This spun out of our burnout episode, right?
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
I feel like bare minimum and arsenal is an oxymoron, though.
Yeah. Well, I thought survival was kind of ironic too.
Well, no matter what you have, if you get pulled over with it, they're going to call it an arsenal.
Yeah, your brick of 500.
522 shells.
Yep. He had nearly 1,000 rounds.
He had 4 magazines and 2 handguns.
Imagine how many coyotes he could miss.
So when you guys were talking on your burnout episode, and you were talking about, you didn't really hint at a bare minimum, but it actually got me thinking specifically about how many guns is necessary, and don't think that, I think that you shouldn't have too many guns, because I think you should have all the guns. But I missed that coyote. It's because I've never spent any time on that specific rifle I was trying to hit it with. If I had so many guns that I didn't get to shoot them very often, and I'm not proficient in any of them, it's kind of worthless to have any of them if I can't shoot them. So I wonder if I should kind of get down to a core amount of guns to even have, and maybe then you just have fun guns after that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when I had the landlord up here, he had a safe room just full of guns, new in box, because had them. And I was like, when's the last time you even touched this gun? Like, that mentality to me never really struck home. It's like, unless it's sentimental for some reason, just having guns to have them, I don't know, it just seemed kind of wasteful for the money. Like, that money is not appreciating as much as people say guns appreciate. Yeah, some do, but not the majority of them.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you two Northwesterners, I mean, haven't you ever seen Red Dawn? I mean, you need all the guns you can get.
Yeah, the remake was based in Spokane.
So let's talk about home defense. We each picked one or two for each of these categories. Zach, what do you think is a good home defense gun for your bare minimum?
I approached this topic, which I think I've veered off of what you guys picked, and you'll explain your choices. But the way I chose it was not necessarily a gun that was only limited to home defense that you can never use in other capacities. Like, I think a Glock 17 or a Glock 19 or any standard size Glock, whatever you want to pick, I think that's just easy. It fits in a nightstand. It's small enough that you don't have to have these elaborate safes or anything in the room for it. I've got mine in a nice little keypad, fingerprint pushy button safe that pops out on the nightstand, and it doesn't take up room. It's a gun that is similar enough to other pistols that I own. It uses the same magazines, same holsters, same lights. I would just as easily on a range trip take the home defense pistol and bring it into the rotation and practice with it. I don't think it's not unpleasant to shoot. In a pinch, you could turn it into a camping pistol, or you could carry it if you want, on the Glock 19 especially. Yeah, so I was trying to use more of a versatile gun. So if there needed to be overlap in categories, you had a gun to overlap. But you guys took a different take. How did you guys do it?
Well, I kind of took the same take because I do like the idea of a full-size polymer pistol, double stack pistol for your nightstand gun or whatever. I also put an 870 pump shotgun on here because that's what my wife wants. And I thought I would throw that out there because that's like her comfort zone. I don't know. It just is what it is. It's not what I would pick for her. But so I just because you're comfortable with a pistol doesn't mean that you got to have the same thing for, both him and her.
But how often has Jenny actually shot an 870? Like, is she really proficient with it?
She's not proficient with anything. I mean, that's the deal. But I mean, you're going to have your spousal units that are totally unenthusiastic about getting proficient with something. So it's something that it more goes into the comfort zone where she's not as comfortable with, I guess, the pistol that you pick it up and it's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking at it as like in our case, Ashley has a Glock 26 as her carry gun, and if I threw two guns down at her and say make one shoot, she's not going to go for the shotgun instinctively. I think just because if she did practice with it, she would realize how unpleasant it is to shoot, and I think that would scare her away from it in the future. So it's just different scenarios, I guess.
Yeah. So like right now, I have actually I have both my daytime carry and a long slide Springfield XD 9mm, and it has an O-light on it, and they're both ready to rock and roll in the same safe. So that's kind of my setup right now. But like anytime I talk about home defense or whatnot, she's like, I wish you hadn't sold the shotgun.
Just when I read the word Springfield XD with an O light, I just chuckle for some reason. It's just
it's kind of fuddish. Yeah.
Do you put it next to your 6-pack of Coors or what?
Yeah. That's the only way you can have the courage to shoot it, So.
Oh dear.
Okay. Okay. It makes sense.
I mean, I bought it before the Springfield debacle, and, I'm probably never buying a Springfield again. And my carry gun's a Springfield, too, so it is what it is. They are good guns, but I'm not a fan of the company anymore. But, I like the idea of having a long slide and a double stack because, it's really easy target acquisition and everything, so...
You just need a red dot on it. Super easy target acquisition.
Wow. And so I have a Glock 17. What do they call the red dot ready ones? I always forget.
MOS.
MOS, yeah. It's like nothing to do. What's it stand for?
Modular Optic System, I believe.
Yeah, they had to call it something stupid. So I have one of those in the safe too. I just never got around to putting a red dot on it.
Huh. Why do you like the long slide? Just because of the sight radius?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I never really cared for how they balance. Like I was really seriously looking at swapping my Glock G45, the 19X style pistol, for a G34, and I went and pulled some out of the safe at work and went and shot them and handled them, and I don't know, just something about the balance point just felt off to me. So I think I'm gonna stick with the shorter slide.
Yeah, I never got that. But anyways, so Aaron, what do you got for home defense?
Well, I kind of went the same way you did. But I made my shotgun a bullpup shotgun. I currently have a pump shotgun under my bed, and I said, if I had to do it again, I think I'd like to go with a bullpup. Just one night while my family wasn't home, I whipped the shotgun out from underneath the bed and out of the safe under the bed, and I quote unquote swept around a few doors, and it's really long and ungainly whipping it around a corner. So if I had to do it again, I would do some sort of bullpup, and it seems like the KSG is a good choice. There's not very many bullpup shotguns, and this one's got 2 tubes in it, so why not?
Now, did you do this sweeping action after watching an action movie by chance?
I'm not sure what led to the sweeping thing. I think it might have been like a Friday night. No one's around. It's been a long work week. I needed to blow off some steam, and who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure what drove me to do that.
Would you prefer the dual tube one or the 7-shot one, the newer one?
A dual tube. I don't know. If I was going to do a bullpup shotgun, it would probably be a dual tube, just because that's kind of cool. It's got you can flip a selector switch and either be slugs on them, or you can pepper them with number 4 buckshot.
I just wonder how much more weight that it is. That's why I've never held them side by side to see. Is it? Do you really notice that extra weight of the dual tubes and the extra ammo in it? I have to believe you do. You would.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, and I bet you would. In the pre-show in the green room, I was talking with Jake. In the green room, I was talking with Jake about some Aguila mini shot shells. Have you seen those? They're like 1 3/4.
Yeah, you need a lot of guns. Just need a little adapter, right?
Yeah. So
if you're
get even more shells in them.
If you're on that short shotgun stage, what about like a TAC? Was it TAC 13 or 14? The new semi-automatic version of the little other firearms.
I saw that, and I think that's pretty cool too. Everybody says, well, just the sound of racking a shotgun is going to scare somebody away, and I like that mentality, but I keep it chambered, so I'm not. If I do that, I'm going to lose a shell out of my shotgun. So I wouldn't be doing that. So maybe those people with that mindset wouldn't want a semi-auto. Well, I guess you could still rack it, but
yeah. You could probably leave it open and then hit the little the bolt release button and let it slam home. But I played with that thing at SHOT Show this year, and it seems cool. It's got that little Picatinny rail section for like a lighter laser up in front of the forearm, and it seems awesome. I just have zero use for it, so it's like it's not really a first priority kind of gun for me. But it feels like it'd be neat to play with.
For sure, I've heard about a couple of those short, not a shotguns, and people using them, and they say that there's a trick to shooting them right, but when you shoot them right, they shoot well. So,
yeah, I'd want to shoot the semi-auto version, I think, because I have shot one of those Serbu Shorty, like the 3+1 short shotguns, and it was painful. Like it was literally, it hurt me to shoot it. And so I have to believe the regular Mossberg and the racking, the pump action ones are similar. They have a little bit longer barrel, but not a whole lot.
The Shockwave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But now that they have that as a semi-auto, that might make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I would take up some of the recoil.
And then you have another gun.
Well, the other one I picked here is one that is currently in my safe. Actually, it might be currently under my bed. I can't remember which safe it's in, but it's a Para Ordnance Black Ops, and it's a double stack 1911 in 45. So I kind of bought this from my uncle thinking it was kind of a neat gun. I don't care for the skull and the wings on the side where it's all Black Ops. It sounds like it's a video game gun.
Looks
but
like
besides that, exactly. Besides that, I mean, it's double stack 45, so you've got even more of those God's round man killer bullets. The strongest bullet in the world is what people say, right?
2 world wars.
Exactly. But anyway, it's a big round, big bullet. When it's loaded down with 15 bullets, it's super heavy, but it really helps with the recoil. I handed it to my wife. She was scared to shoot it, and she's like, "Oh, this shoots great." It's got night sights on it. I think it says it has a match grade barrel. None of that really matters to me because I'm not shooting any matches, and I don't know if I could shoot good enough to shoot in a match. But if you're just going to pull something out and you want to pop some lead in somebody, 45 is a good choice for home defense.
I didn't realize Para was still in business. I thought they went under, but I guess I'm wrong. This looks like a current website.
Yeah, they are. They got bought out by who's the company that owns Remington?
Yeah, Freedom Group or whatever.
Freedom Group. I knew it had group in it. Yeah, unfortunately, my Para came in a Remington box, and then all my other gun friends made fun of me because it's owned by Freedom Group. So
yeah, well, I mean, worst case, you could throw it at them.
Well, you can always tell the company's doing well when at the bottom of the page it says you can click into their 2014 catalog.
Yep. Super good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I see that. Wow. Now, okay, I have a question about these guns. So the double stack 1911, does it have the same mags as like Rock Island Armory or an Arms Corps double stack? Is that magazine a standard or is it proprietary to the manufacturer?
I have no idea. It came with 3 magazines, and so I haven't sought out buying any more. So I just really don't know. I think that they're stamped Para on the bottom of the mag.
Yeah, that's probably just because that's who made them for contract. That makes sense. But it looks like it's got a light rail, so you could put a flashlight on it for your home defense situation. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I think they're a little bit too big for me. My hands. I had a couple double stack guns like that, and they are large. Like if you think 1911 super svelte slim gun, double stack grip is double.
Well, they're not as big as what's that double 1911?
Oh yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope not.
I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but I do have bigger hands, and I think it fits great in my hand. It feels good. Doesn't feel awkward.
Well, I'm glad you're picking that gun for your home defense and not your carry gun, because you would need suspenders to keep it up.
I made that actually mistake for my first carry gun. It was really heavy, and it pulled my pants down a lot, and it just kind of made me not want to carry a gun. I was super young and naive into how any of this works.
Yeah, we've all been there, and I have that affliction of white man butt, and so my pants don't stay up anyways.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, I put one more thing on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I put one more thing on the list here, and it's a German Shepherd trained for protection. That's something I've wanted for a long time. Having a dog that, when you say some command in German, like Auschwitz or whatever, it just goes nuclear on the bad guys.
That might be a poor choice of words, but you can work on that.
I don't really know many other German words. I don't know.
Okay. Well. Okay. All right. Good choice.
Yeah. No, I think a dog is a good form of home defense, and I know we're talking guns, but having something that's going to alert you, and not just to the squirrel, but alert you to somebody who shouldn't be there is really critical.
Do you have dogs on your farm?
My sister has 2 dogs. One is really, really, really stupid, and the other one is like a sheep herding type dog. It's an Australian something or another.
And Jake, are you going to get a dog on your new farm that you go to?
Eventually, not until the kids can, deal with all the dog chores and everything. Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain the thought of a dog until that.
So in other words, you're never going to get a dog because you say that, and then they won't clean it up. They'll sign a contract in blood.
Right. Well, that's when you just have to tell them Auschwitz.
Auschwitz.
Wow. Okay. We should move on, Jake.
All right. Moving on to self-defense. Zach, what do you got?
Are we going to go in the same order every time? Nobody wants to take first?
Yeah, I'm not that original. Go.
Okay, well, speaking of not original, I would say a Glock 43. I think, once you get used to a gun, and this applies if you're a Smith & Wesson guy, okay, replace my home defense with a M&P full size and put self-defense as an M&P shield. It works the same. It's just the idea is to get used to the same family of guns, that you have the familiarity where everything is. It feels the same. The 43 basically feels like a Glock, just thinner, and it all works. And I used to carry a Glock 19, and it got to the point where I didn't like carrying all the extra weight. It's a lot of weight carrying around there. And then I went to the cars. I was a big proponent in the car pistols. Jake, you probably remember that. Like in 2014, I was big on cars, and I still love a car. But man, it's just going back and forth. Like if I would play with Glock full-size guns and then go practice again before I leave the range of my car, I noticed that it took me a little bit of time to really focus on that trigger pull and the different sight picture and the different feel of the gun. And so moving from a Glock 17, 19 to a 43 as your carry gun, for me personally, man, it's just a continuation of a theme, and I can feel like I'm very confident with it. It feels the same to me. The recoil is similar. Everything just feels right to me. So it's just personal preference. But I do love a car. But the cars to me are just like, what do they call those? Barbecue guns, like guns that you show off and you don't really do much else with. They're beautiful guns, especially the steel frame ones I'm specifically referring to. They're beautiful guns.
I thought that's what Kimbers are for, because you can't actually shoot a Kimber because it'll break.
Yeah, but people laugh at you when you say you have a Kimber. Yeah. So I say 43. I don't know what you guys say.
I really like that theory, and I think that's really wise. I've never heard anybody say that. Something to totally consider if you got the money to redo your setup, or if you're just starting, maybe consider sticking with a family of pistols.
I mean, I've really looked at it too. Like when I love that CZ P10C, but when I look at the magazine costs, they're $30 a piece. And if I say, okay, I want to buy the S for my carry gun and the C for my whatever gun, and I'm just like looking at all the costs associated with switching systems, it's once you're embedded in one, it becomes much harder to go to a whole different setup, and it has to be above and beyond better than what you have now. Like I have a Smith & Wesson M&P 4-inch compact that I love. That gun is awesome, but to really make it a mainstay gun that it has 10 mags and has all the holsters for every carry position and all that, that's a big commitment. And I've already got it built in with the Glocks because I've switched Glocks so many times over the years with different models, but the mags have remained the same. I've got mags from when I lived in Illinois, and that was 2009 or whatever. So had I had to switch over every time, I think I would really be negatively affected by it.
Are those Illinois mags? Are they 5-round mags?
Well, if it's actually just a single shot follower, you're just a solid body.
And you have to convert it to bolt action, so No, actually, Illinois doesn't have magazine limitations. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest stroke of irony too, I guess. But
yeah, give it time.
Hey, don't give me any ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so for my self-defense, I put pretty much any single stack polymer 9mm or 45. I carry an XDS 4-inch 45. I like how thin they are, how light they are. That's just kind of where I'm at. I see that Smith & Wesson, I think they have a 4-inch shield now, and that intrigues me, so I might check that out.
Now you mentioned polymer. Any reason why you choose polymer over metal?
So I don't have to wear suspenders. Just for the weight. The weight's the biggest factor.
Yeah, because in reality, we're carrying them 99.9999% of the time and shooting them that other remainder. And so the weight is a huge issue for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when I picked out my current carry, which isn't my self-defense choice here, I did a spreadsheet and I looked at all the options for single stack 9s that are compact. And the one I chose is the SIG P938, and it weighs less than the Glock 43.
Can you shoot that gun?
Absolutely. I love that gun. My wife hates that gun. That's why when she ended up getting a carry gun, she went with the Shield 2.0. But yeah, I shoot it well. I like it a lot.
Well, that's good because that's the thing is like, that's why there is no perfect gun. And that's why people just have to buy stuff and be okay with selling it and getting something different when it doesn't work out. Because I'm kind of the opinion that you can get a feel for it at a gun rental range, but it's nothing like actually owning it and living with the gun for a while. But like I had the Kimber Micro 9, which is kind of along the same vein of the 938 you're talking about. I had a beautiful. I did it for an article, had it all done up, forward cocking serrations, everything done to this gun.
Did people make fun of you for owning a Kimber?
They did.
They should have.
No, they should have once they saw me shoot it because I couldn't hit. I mean, it was terrible. Like I don't know what it was about it, but it just didn't shoot well for me. It only shot well if I really took my time, slowed down, focused on all the fundamentals. And I would assume if I'm getting attacked or if I need that gun for the reason it's there, I'm not going to have all the time for that. Like the Glock 43, I can just kind of point shoot and get really close. And I could not do the same thing with that Kimber, but it was a beautiful gun. Man, it was awesome. And to be fair, it never jammed on me. So it beat its reputation. It's just, I couldn't shoot it worth a crap.
That's why it's important for you to shoot something before you buy it. If you can, like you mentioned, going to the range. That's what we did when we just picked up my wife's carry gun 3 weeks ago, and she shot all the single stack 9s, narrowed it down to the one that she chose.
Now, how much lighter is it? You said it was lighter than a 43. Is it because there's less capacity, or just the slides are lighter, or what's the difference there?
It has the same capacity. It's got a 6+1 or 7+1 magazine. I mean, obviously it's only ounces. It's not pounds lighter. So, but it is technically lighter, and it's the same size as a Glock 43. So, I guess the comment there is that just because it's metal doesn't mean that it's heavier.
True. So what did you like about it? Just the single stage trigger and all that?
I really liked how it shot. I didn't like how the Glock shot. I've not had any experience with Glock before, and the trigger was just super long and mushy, and maybe because it was a range gun and had been shot forever, I don't know, but it really turned me off on the Glock 43.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing with Glocks. You know, the aftermarket is so prevalent that you can change anything on there. So I hate to see people give up on it just at first glance because that's what they pulled off the shelf and that's how it felt. Because it's like if you like 70% of that gun, the other 30% can be changed easy by anybody. It's like the Legos, kind of thing. But telling somebody they can switch a SIG part or some more complex kind of guns, it's a little more tricky. I mean, it can be done, but just it's more of a limited aftermarket. Like literally anything on the Glock, if you don't like it, I guarantee you there's a part about it other than just, the fundamental shape of it you can't change. So if it doesn't fit your hand, it doesn't fit your hand, I guess. But like the trigger, I have an Apex trigger shoe in mine, the Lone Wolf connector and stuff like that. So it's got it to the point where I like it. But yeah, if I would have just taken it off a shelf like you did and said, okay, I'm going to carry it as is, yeah, I probably would have said this is not my best choice either. Well,
so I did know at the time that you could upgrade triggers and things like that, but then my fear was, well, do I spend however many dollars on an Apex trigger? And what if I still don't like it? And how much should I just spend on that trigger and all that jazz? So without being able to compare it to a modified one, I just had to go with off the shelf.
Well, I'm going to always advocate for the aftermarket because my mortgage gets paid by the aftermarket. So,
yep.
Yeah, just buy it. And if you don't like it, well, then buy another one.
Well, I do have that problem with some stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you though. That's why I go through so many guns, because I buy a lot of stuff sight unseen, and I think it's going to be the answer to my question, and then it ends up not being. So I just have to turn it and sell it and try the next thing. But I know a lot of people are not willing to do that, or think that's wasteful, because it is wasteful.
So, Aaron, what did you put for your actual self-defense gun?
So the SIG P365, and while I don't own that gun, I shot it while I was shooting with my wife while she was picking her guns, and I really liked that gun. It was a honey of a gun, and basically the same size as the Glock 43, tiny bit wider, but it's got 10-round magazine, or you can get 12-round magazines. I'm sure for the Glock 43 you can get as big of a magazine as you want also, but I was able to shoot it really well. My wife liked it a lot also, but she shot the M&P Shield 2.0 much better. She was better on target with the Shield, so that's why she went with the Shield. And also, the magazine is really, really stiff in the SIG.
Yeah, is your wife carrying on body, or like a purse carry or something?
It will be on body. She doesn't have a permit. Actually, neither of us have a permit for Oregon yet since we've moved.
Huh. So, because that's where I look at it, as like the Shield 2.0 is probably great for like a shooting gun, but for me, it's got too much height from the magazine to the top of the slide. It just feels too long there for me, and so that's where, like, a carrying gun, I think the 365 is a perfect gun. I like it. I've shot it. I've got a friend that has one, and it is a good gun. I shot it well. I liked it a lot. It was another one of those deals for me that I already have 10 magazines for a Glock 43, and I don't want to invest a whole bunch of money in magazines. Had
the 365 been out when I bought my 938, I would have totally bought the 365 hands down.
Yeah, and I'm not crazy about the look. I know it shouldn't matter, but I don't like how the mag and grip almost curl back forwards. Like, it looks like did you look at the profile of it? It doesn't go back swept like most guns. It goes down and then curls back forward. I know that's such a minor quibble, but the aesthetics just look a little off to me on the gun.
I see that in the picture. It's not off-putting to me, but I don't know.
And I also,
what you're used to.
Exactly. And then I've had, Jake, I don't know if you remember this, but I bought 2 SIG P226s back on the day, mail order, sight unseen, never held one, never shot one, but they were in all the movies that I liked. So, hey, why do I not get one of those? I could not hit the broadside. Yeah, probably. I probably did shoulder rolls and stuff too, but I couldn't hit anything with those guns. For some reason, the bore, the height over bore axis for me just is a real big deal for the way I shoot. I just cannot shoot with guns that have a high bore axis, and the SIGs for me were part of that. The 365 I think was manageable, though. It's much lower than the traditional SIGs.
So this is where it's going to come out and sound like I'm a SIG fanboy, but I have a SIG P226 Legion, and that gun shoots so much better for me than I ever could shoot as a shooter. It's like it's got bullet autopilot or something. I don't know, but that thing just puts them downrange and puts them right on the paper where they're where you think you're pointing it at.
So then why did you pick the Para for your home defense gun?
To be different and not sound like a SIG fanboy.
Oh, okay. But we truly know that, I guess you are, now that you've already outed yourself.
It's out now, yeah.
Well, you would think with your Army truck, you'd have a Beretta in here somewhere.
When I was shooting the single stack 9s, they had the Beretta 93 FS, I believe it was, in the case. And when you rent a gun, you can get any gun at same rental price. You don't have to pay per gun. And so I asked to shoot that one, and it shot well. It was nice to shoot it. It felt good in my hand, but I knew better than to ever buy one of those.
Yeah, no, I had one. I had a 92G, and it's great, but I was looking at it, and it's like it's bigger than a Glock 17, and it only holds 15 rounds. It's humongous, and it just didn't seem like a real practical position for me.
Yeah, but what else are you going to hold and fondle while you watch Die Hard on Christmas Eve?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there's only so many times you could tape a gun to your back without having a patch, and then people are going to ask you, hey, that fur that you call your back, why has it got a patch open?
Why is there a blank spot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why I don't take my shirt off in public.
That's the reason. I've got a few.
One of them.
I say I've got like 250 reasons. But
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I see it's another gun on your list. And you have to explain this one to us.
Yeah. So I've heard people talk. Actually, it's the I'm going to call them out here. Handgun Radio. They talk about the North American Arms revolvers from time to time, and I think when they mention them, they have a twinkle in their eye. I think they like them, and this, I don't not like them. I'm not knocking them, but my dad had one when I was like 13, and he bought the matching belt buckle for it. And we were at some church party next door, and there's a gift exchange, and somebody rattled out. They were caught off guard by the gift that they got in the gift exchange, and someone said, "I'm going to kill you for this," jokingly. And my dad said, "Oh, well, here, use this." And he unclipped the pistol and tossed it across the room at the person. And then they pulled the hammer back. And as a 13-year-old, I jumped up out of my seat and was screaming, "No, no, no, don't pull the trigger." They thought it was a toy gun.
Wow.
So
This was at a church function that somebody was threatening somebody else's life over a gift. And then a second person provided an instrument to carry out said death.
yeah.
Wow. What kind of religion was this? So have you ever actually shot one? Has anybody shot one of these little guys? Because I've never shot one.
I shot it when I was 13 or 14, and it all but jumps out of your hand, even with little tiny 13-year-old hands.
Huh. Can you aim it? Because it seems to me like the webbing of your hand between your thumb and forefinger would just bundle up over the sights, and you wouldn't be able to see even the sight.
No, I think the webbing provides the V-notch in the rear, and it just has a single front post.
Interesting. Huh. I think they're pretty popular. I mean, I don't know if they're popular because they're so cheap or just because it's a novelty or what.
And a novelty.
Yeah, I know people that I knew someone that keeps one in their visor in their vehicle just because it's so tiny they have it slid up in their visor.
Well, how do they work though? I mean, is it a transfer bar system? Does anybody know? Like, can you leave it on a loaded chamber, dropped on a loaded chamber?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I think that you leave them loaded. You leave them with all rounds in there, and the hammer can be down. I don't know how the safety works in it though.
Huh. Well, I guess it's not as bad as those Bond Arms guns, I guess. Have you guys seen the infomercials for those?
No, I haven't.
What? How do you see a gun infomercial? What would you watch? What would you watch to come across that?
It's on. I'm gonna get it for you. It's on like Outdoor Channel and those. It's like a full on 30-minute. It's like a 30-minute.
Oh, like a literal, like an actual infomercial.
Yeah, like an infomercial. Yeah,
wow.
Does
it have Billy Mays or Billy Hayes or whatever that guy who talks really loud? Is he the one doing it?
He's kind of like that, but he's the CEO. I put a link in the show notes so if anybody wants to see it. But like goes over all the Bond Arms guns. They're like little Derringer guns, and they just give a spiel, basically selling their Bond Arms guns.
All right, let's go to survival hunting. And Zach, I'll switch it up. Aaron, what do you got for this category?
So I chose two. Because survival/hunting, that's two different things. So I figured, well, why not have two? For the survival, I'm thinking like apocalypse here. So I chose an under-over shotgun by Savage, Model 42. Comes in 410 and 22 long rifle, or you can do a 22 Magnum. I chose the 22 long rifle, thinking that if it is the end of the world, 22 long rifle should be more prevalent than Magnum.
Mm-hmm. I think your link is broken in there, but I'm getting a 404. But I think I know what you're talking about. Is that the one that has like the wire stock on it and it looks like a survival gun?
No, actually, it's not. This has, oops. Yeah, look at that. I've reached this page by mistake. No, this one doesn't have a wire stock on it. It's, I believe, a black synthetic stock. I put this in a couple weeks ago, so
they've already discontinued it. They heard.
I think so.
Yeah, I get the idea. I honestly, I mean, are we going to be ever in a survival situation? Like, I don't ever see that really happening. But
but just wait till we do our EMP episode, okay?
Don't just try to give me an excuse why you drive old ass cars. You could just say, I don't want a car payment. That's totally acceptable.
No, I need to drive something old enough that is EMP proof. I'm not there yet.
It also doubles as a gambler backup vehicle.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of your gambler, while we're on the topic real quick, I think you need to go find the guy that bought that that old one and see if he truly did weld it back together. I think people want to know.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want. Yeah, no. I'm hoping it.
Well,
it went to the junkyard or turned into a lawn ornament or something.
Hopefully he's just driving it around without the top on, and maybe he stretched out like a blue tarp from the free blue tarp from Harbor Freight. And he stretched out across with some bungee cords, and he's got a convertible now. He
made a whole light bar of the light bar out of the free LED flashlights from Harbor Freight, and really did it up. Huh. Okay, so how does this work? If it's shooting 410 and 22, does it have open sights, or do you sight in a scope for just the 22 and then the 410 just kind of fires where it may?
Yeah, so it has I believe that it has like a peep sight and then a larger open hole that kind of flips forward at a 90-degree angle. If I remember the video right, I went on Google and I went to Google's link for the Savage Arm 42 takedown, and when I click on that, it says page not found. So they may have stopped in the last 2 weeks. They may have just stopped selling these things. But it's a takedown, so it comes in half, which is nice for the survival. Put it in a backpack kind of thing, also.
Yeah. Okay, I'm seeing a picture of it now. That's interesting. So you wouldn't put a scope on this, then, I assume?
No, I just keep it open sights for this one. And then for a hunting rifle, I picked a classic Remington 700. There's a bazillion of those, I think, out there. And 308, because it kind of goes along with a survival. That should be a fairly easy round to find anywhere from anybody, including the military. And then I like big scope, so I put a big scope on it. And I also put down a Silencer Co. Omega 300 suppressor. Do you have
this suppressor?
It's currently in jail. I called this week to ask about it, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, everything got pushed out to a year now because of the government shutdown." So
yeah, I'm still waiting on one from June. They cashed my money in June, so I'm still waiting.
Well, mine was 2 months after that.
Okay, well, I'll let you know when I get mine.
Yeah, there we go. I got it on the Silencer Co. summer buy one get one thing. So I bought one, and then they had problem with my registration, and so it took quite a while for me to get it registered. And then I still haven't got my free one yet, and I can't register that one until I get the serial number. So it's going to be a really long time.
Now, the real question is, would you buy a new Remington 700 these days?
Probably not. Probably not the new one. I don't know.
I think if you want a 700 pattern gun, I would get like a Bergara or something like that.
I'm not familiar with that. I was going to say, bless you.
Bergara is a rifle that is awesome, and it's the same one I went to the class with. So you could say I'm a little partial, but they do it's a 700 pattern action, so 700 stocks and 700 triggers and all that stuff works with it. But it's just a much higher quality gun. I'm not terribly impressed with the Remington guns anymore, but yeah, it's the same thing. I think they're the same or right around the same price or even cheaper in some respects.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually currently in the market for something to put that suppressor on. I don't have anything to put it on. I bought it without even having a rifle for it. So figure if I buy it down the road, I'll have a rifle to put it on.
Sounds like you need to thread that Browning.
No, I'm not very excited about that gun.
Well, hey, it's not its fault that you'd miss the coyote. Jeez, don't take it out on
I know. No, I want a bolt gun. I want a bolt gun, and I'd like to just save that Browning as is to give to my son when he's old enough to use as a hunting rifle because it belonged to his grandpa. So I think that it would be a great thing to pass down.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense totally.
All right, Zach, what do you have for survival hunting?
Well, mine seems really plain in comparison to his guns, but I just figured any AR-15 will cover both of those scenarios. Everybody should have one at this point. If you get one with a flat top on it, you can move it from red dots to scopes, anything in between. You can swap uppers if you want later. It pretty much does anything you want. And my favoriteest one that I have right now is the PWS 11-inch pistol. I think it's what's MK pronounced? Is it Mark 11? Mark 111, or do people say MK 111?
Mark.
I say Mark.
Yeah, I would say
if that's what MK stands for.
Yeah, I would say Mark. I'd say Mark 111 too. That gun is so amazing. I did some YouTube videos on it, and you get the obligatory, well, I could have 3 guns of lesser price for that same price. And I was like, well, yeah, you can. But at some point in your gun collecting career, you start going for high quality guns where you feel the money is spent well versus just having quantity of lesser quality guns. And I'm definitely at that stage these days. And the Mark 111 PWS is just fantastic. It's got so many features. It's fully ambidextrous. All the machine work is just impeccable on it. The piston system on it is awesome. They give you a little tool that the gas block has 3 positions on it. You can just use a bullet tip as well to switch it, but it recoils differently than a gas gun. I'm saying it's better or worse, but it's supposed to be a lot better for suppressing, and that's why I bought it. Actually, was to have a really good suppressor host AR-15. But of course, my suppressor is still in jail right now, so I don't know for sure how that's going to work out. But all accounts say it should be great for it. With the pistols, these days, it's no reason not to have a shorty. I'm not shooting 600, 700 yards with it, so I don't need that 16-inch barrel or longer. I feel like it's very versatile with bullets and different types of bullets with 5.56. I don't really see any downside other than, well, actually, I don't see any downside to having an AR for most of those scenarios.
As long as you can hunt with it in the areas that you're in. I know some states you can only hunt with straight walled cartridges
Well, that's the beautiful thing. You can swap a 450 Bushmaster up around to it easy enough. I took a deer with a 450 Bushmaster, and that thing just bang flopped and just went straight down. So there are options like that. But yeah, hunting, when I think of survival hunting, yeah, it's I was kind of leaning more towards a little bit of both. But yeah, as a true hunting gun, I probably would do a bolt action gun. But probably 6.5 Creedmoor just so you could use it as a target gun as well. But I think the AR covers most bases.
Yeah, and I basically just copied you, Zach. I said most any AR-15, I would have irons and red dots set up on it. You can get by with almost anything. I mean, for that kind of situation, I would think.
Yeah, I the irons, I'm not a super duper fan of irons anymore. Like, they have a place just because of their simplicity, but
EMP, Zach, EMP.
God, if we're in that situation, I'll deal with that when it comes, I guess. But
you'll be carving irons out of wood sticks and putting them on your gun because your optic no longer functions.
It's close enough. It'll just be like a circle.
Do you think that a metal gun safe is EMP proof? It's all metal. Does that shield it?
Well, mine has a digital lock on it, so I'd probably be screwed if I couldn't even get into it because the EMP blew out the tumbler system.
It doesn't have a backup dial?
No, I don't believe so.
Ooh, yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I don't know. The irons are fine, but I just, like, even red dots, I'm not a super duper fan on rifles just because they're only good for me, 50, 75 yards for any kind of precision. Like, as a man-sized target, sure, you can use it and just kind of center it up and pull the trigger. But, like, if I'm shooting, like those sight-in targets for rifles where they're roughly, 20 inches wide and like 2 foot tall kind of things, I don't feel like I have any resolution on those when I'm using a red dot. Maybe it's partly my astigmatism and I'm just not seeing a super small, crisp dot. But, even a 4-minute dot is taking up 4 inches at that 100 yards. And that's the full bullseye. So I'm really partial to ACOGs and those. I tried the low power variable optics, 1-4, 1-6s, and I like them, but they are just so big and heavy comparatively that I think it's really hard to beat like a 4-power ACOG.
Interesting.
And I've actually recently, yeah, and I used to go with the regular ACOGs. I've had probably 4 or 5 over the years these days, because I always think there's something better, and I sell it and buy it something better, and I always come back to it. So shame on me, I guess. But I used to go with the tritium and fiber optic versions, and I've just now the one I just bought recently for this PWS. I have the LED version, so it just runs on one battery. And the nice thing with that is it has a dial, so you can turn that brightness down and up as you see fit. Whereas the fiber optic one, sometimes in super bright daylight, that fiber tube would be too efficient, and it would give you a lot of blooming. So a lot of guys would put little black tape or something on it to kind of temper the brightness on it. Well, with this one, you can actually literally just dial it down exactly what you want. And most times I don't even shoot it illuminated. I just leave it as the etched reticle. So it's like a 4-power compact scope, basically. So for me, that's just enough magnification to feel like I'm actually getting some precision and resolution downrange while still being far enough out that I feel like I'd shoot close range targets as well. And I think I'm going to probably buy a RMR mount for the top of it and run RMR and ACOG at the same time, but I haven't got there yet.
What are your thoughts on the $75 gun show ACOGs?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're great, and they're totally EMP proof, so get like 3 of them just in case.
All right, let's move on to the fun category. Zach, what do you got?
What do I have for fun? I would say the Ruger 1022 or Ruger Charger. I think that's a super easy gun to play with. It's fun to shoot, cheap to shoot. I'll let you know more once I get all these guns built, but even the one that I had, especially suppressed, there is nothing better than a suppressed 22. They're so quiet. They're so easy to shoot. No recoil. The mags are cheap. They're reliable. All the parts work. I just think there's a lot of benefit to it. And these days I'm more and more going to the Ruger Charger just because you can build it into a short pistol. So I've been building them on the Brownells receivers, so they just transfer to you as an other, just a receiver, and then you build it into a pistol, and you can later build it into a rifle if you want. But as long as you start with that virgin receiver, you don't have to buy a Ruger Charger to start with. And I think they're fantastic. I think they're just great. I think they're really good.
It's such an interesting, I guess, evolution of that gun, where that for years and years that gun just sat on shelves and like nobody paid any interest to it. And then all of a sudden, people are building all these, pistol, not SBR, but SBR-like guns out of it. Which
you're talking about Charger specifically? Yeah, I bought that Charger when it still came with a wood pistol grip stock, and nobody had it. And they actually discontinued the Charger for a while there.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, they discontinued it, and then they brought it back. And the precipice of that was the arm braces. As soon as the arm braces became mainstream and legit, it's just exploded.
All right, Aaron, what do you got for fun?
Well, if you're going to have fun, you need to have more than one. So I've put down a few options here. I put something similar to the Ruger 1022. I just found out about this rifle while I was doing some research about a month ago. It's called the 9622, and it's a lever action version of the 1022. And they only made it. I don't. They only made them from 1996 to like 2006. So for 10 years, nothing is compatible with any of the other Ruger 1022 lineup other than the magazine. So having a magazine fed lever action, I thought was cool because I want to suppress one. And if you put a suppressor on something that's got a tube under the barrel, like a lever action with a tube, then you got to take the suppressor off to put the bullets in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the biggest downside. I was curious about that 9622. When I saw you put it in there, I was looking at some videos, and I couldn't help but wonder. I've never seen one in person, so I couldn't tell you, but I wonder what the click-clack noise of the handle, the lever being actuated, how that compares to just the bolt click-clack in a semi-automatic version.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. This would allow you to use like shorts in it and stuff though too.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Where you and quiets, which don't have enough power to actuate the 1022.
Well, they make a special bolt. Volquartsen makes a Firefly bolt that is specifically made for those shorts. Or the quiets, whatever they're called. So it's like a super lightweight bolt, but that seems kind of cumbersome unless you're going to just run that ammo all the time. But if you have a suppressor,
Gotcha.
It is super quiet anyways. Do you have a 22 suppressor yet?
Not yet.
Oh, it's amazing. They really are. Like even with standard velocity in a short barrel or subsonic, it is super quiet. I mean, it's the only cartridge I think that really is kind of Hollywood quiet.
Interesting. Yeah. So they have the sight post is at the very tip of the barrel. So if you took it to a gunsmith and had it threaded, you're going to lose your front sight post. Supposedly you can get there's a bolt action version of the 1022 also. And you can kind of modify that barrel, which they made a threaded barrel version to go on the 9622. So kind of a dream I have. It's probably a $1,000 dream once you buy the gun and buy the parts and pay somebody to do all that work and then buy a suppressor. But I just think it'd be sweet to have a magazine fed lever action 22.
Well, they made a Ruger 96 44 mag version of that.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. And they also made it in 22 Magnum and 17 HMR as well.
Have you seen him on Gunbroker though? Because I looked up the 22 or 9622, and a lot of the Magnums showed up, and they want like $900 and some odd just for the base gun.
So the link that I have in the show notes is for one. No one bid on it. It was $650. It's the first time I've seen one on Gunbroker since I've looked. But I see lots of the 17 HMR, lots of the Magnums, lots of the 44s, but the 22 long rifle, people must just be hanging on to those.
I'm so surprised they didn't go with a standard 1022 barrel. That doesn't make any sense to me. It looks like, by all accounts, just like a 1022, but with a different bottom metal on it.
The stock is different. Someone even said that the little tiny rail that you screw onto the top of your receiver, the hole spacing is a different hole spacing, so you can't even interchange those.
Well, no wonder it only lasted 10 years. Do you think they would just smarten up and make it a 1022 clone, but lever action?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Suppress 22, whether it's that gun or something else, like you said, a Suppress 22 is a lot of fun. Shout out to Ryan Cross. I got to shoot my first Suppress 22 with him with his fun toys. So
was that going off in the background?
No, it wasn't. That was the North American Arms 22. I just tossed it to a church lady.
Yeah, that's what bad gift givers know.
Somebody.
You got to learn. You can't give bad gifts.
Nope. No. So this is where I've included in the fun category. I added an AR-15. I wasn't sure exactly which one to pick. Sounds like I made a bad choice by picking a Springfield because Jake doesn't like them. I just figured that it would have a good reputation, not for who they are.
Oh my gosh, you put a Springfield Saint in here? Oh, jeez.
Have you? No, I'm going to back him up on this. That Saint Edge is fine. That gun is awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's probably quality. I don't own one, but it's probably quality. It's probably made with good stuff. It's not going to fail. It's not the cheapest one out there. It's not the most expensive. I would have picked something different if we weren't going budget. I really like the POF line of AR-15s that they have.
I think this Saint Edge is like the perfect gun for somebody that is ready to spend a little bit more money than a standard carbine, like an M&P Sport 2 or something like that, but doesn't want to go full on custom. This is a perfect gun for that. And yes, it's a Springfield, but I bought the Saint as soon as it came out, the very first one with the plastic handguards and everything. And it's awesome, Jake. I don't know what you're saying. Just because of their politics, yeah, sure. But this is a show not about politics. So
I also go, because of the marketing campaign they launched it with.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that specifically, I guess. But it's just like the Saint Edge. It has all of the skeletonized cuts and everything, and it's got the ambidextrous parts. It's kind of like my primary weapons gun. Really, it has the M-lock rail. It has the comp. Everything I've played with it at shot. It feels great. Now the only thing I didn't like about it personally is I've swapped a lot of the stuff out on mine where it's basically not stock anymore. But when I went to go take the gas block off, it came off a little too easy. Like the pins drifted out just a little bit too easy for my liking. Like I was like, oh, that seems too easy to take out. Because I also did a M&P Sport 2 the same day. I had one of those as well. And I took the gas block off that, and I damn near had to cut it off with a grinding wheel because it was so bad, so hard. So I guess pick your poison on that. But it just seemed a little odd that it came off that easy. But I have no problem with that St. Edge. I think it's fine.
Yeah. And then I'd put like a 1-to-4 power scope on that, just something to see downrange with.
And there I would veer with you a little different. I think I would suggest a 1-to-6 if you can afford the difference in price, or a 1-to-8, because I feel like 4 power, you just start running out of room a little bit. And
not enough.
Yeah, the 1-to-6 I've really liked, but it's just a lot heavier and a little bit more money too. So that's just
I'm very, like I mentioned earlier with hunting rifles, I'm very green with scopes and stuff like that. And I chose the 1-to-4 specifically because it seemed like a lot of 1-to-4s are marketed to the AR-15 crowd. So I just figured, well, if that's what people do with it, that would be the scope I would get.
Oh yeah, and I don't disagree with anything you said there. I just personally like a little bit more magnification, and Vortex makes a great 1-to-6 in their Razor line, but it's also like $1,000. So obviously the one you picked is a lot cheaper. So it just kind of works out with whatever your budget is.
Yep. And the last one, you need a good pistol for fun. This one just happens to be a SIG. I'm not a SIG fanboy. All my buddies listening to the podcast are saying, yes, you are. I don't own a 320 yet. I'd love to have a 320. This one is like a military looking version, or maybe it's the military version they sell to the public, but it has an RMR cut in it already. And then down the road, you save up your pennies and you get an RMR for it.
So it's actually cut for an RMR, right? Well, no, I don't think it is, because it says compatible with Romeo 1T and Delta Point Pro. So, because I thought they were pushing their own electro-optic line more than the RMR. So I was kind of surprised when it had an RMR cut, but I don't think it does.
Oh, so then maybe I'm using the terminology wrong. I just assumed that all RMRs were the little red dots for pistols.
Oh,
so,
no. RMR specifically, no, I guess in a slang term, you're right, but RMR technically means the Trijicon ruggedized miniature reflex sight, the RMR.
Oh,
that's kind of the gold standard. But then, but technically that category is considered a micro red dot sight, MRDS, that category of small, tiny reflex sights like that. But yeah, that's,
now it's like RMR is to Velcro, to duct tape, to, it's
well, and that's why I say in slang it's fine. But if he goes and buys an RMR and he buys that gun, he's going to be sorely disappointed when he goes to screw it together and it don't go together.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, thanks for correcting me on that, because, like I said, I just assumed that's what it was called. You hear that term thrown around. Well, it's got an RMR cut.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, and you put in a money is no object or subcategory to this one. What do you got there?
Yeah, so I didn't realize that this was budget, and I started going big at first when I saw the fun round. So I threw an H&K G36C in there. That's always been a dream gun of mine. I think those look so awesome.
You can't get those in the U.S., though.
Well, it's hypothetical, I guess. Or maybe you can, but you just have to be part of a cartel or something. I'm not sure how that works.
I think you have to be Tom Cruise on a bridge. Did look at the picture on the link that you put in there. Yeah. The listeners have to go look at this. The gun it's like optic on optic. It's got an EOTech on top of another optic.
I saw that, and then a laser and a flashlight on the front and the bottom. And this is on H&K's website too. So
wow.
I wonder. Yeah, I'm not sure if somebody accidentally, maybe not accidentally, somebody hacked their website and put a airsoft rifle in there, a whole doodled up airsoft rifle. I'm not sure.
And they have it under the assault rifles category.
Ultra short assault rifle. Yeah. Let's see. So I put that in there. A year or so back, the XM556 micro gun, which was a Gatlin gun that shoots 5.56. Thought that was pretty cool. So if money's no object, you've got to have one of those. And then because
that's what you need on your off-road truck, army truck.
No, I think I need a much bigger one than that. This is like small dog. I mean, like pocket dog size. You need a big one.
Yeah, you could mount that outside the door. You could mount that one right there at the door. You could shoot out the door while you're driving.
Yeah, it could hang under your mirror or something. Another one I put in here was the P90, the FN P90, and I put that one in there strictly because I grew up in the Nintendo 64. Well, I grew up before then, but played a lot of Nintendo 64 with GoldenEye, and that was the gun to do a wield in that game.
Yeah.
It is a cool gun. I think you kind of have to get that gun as a short barrel rifle. I don't think it doesn't look right with the 16-inch barrel on it.
It doesn't at all.
It's really odd.
I got to tell a quick story. I was in Rural King, which is like a Midwestern farm store, and they have a pretty good gun counter. They have like the gun barn or something. But they have really good prices and a pretty good selection for being like a quote unquote big box store gun counter. And they don't act so much like a big box store. They usually have pretty good clerks, but I was in there and the guy's like, what you looking for? I'm like, oh, I'm just looking. And he's like, want to see something cool? And he flips around the monitor. He's like, we just got notice that we can get these into the stores now, and it was the P90, but it's got the long barrel and everything on it. I'm like, it'd be cool if it didn't have that stupid long barrel. It totally deflated the guy.
Just took it out of him.
Yeah, I felt bad afterwards, but it was a pretty good price point. It was like $1,200. And like those used to be well over 2,000, right?
Yeah, what I remember, but I haven't really priced them in a long time. But have you guys ever shot one?
I
Negative.
haven't. No.
We don't have a P90, but we have the AR-15s with the P90 mags on them and everything. So I shot that round, and we have them on machine gun lowers, and those mags. It fires on an AR-15 style, then it ejects through the mag well of the standard AR-15 lowers, and it shoots so fast that it just sounds like a machine. Well, it sounds like a machine gun, but it sounds like a weed eater almost. And with a suppressor on it, like a little short barrel with a suppressor on it, and going full auto, it is insane. But those mags are such a pain in the butt to load that I was turned off to the whole idea just by loading the mags after a while, because you put them in there 90 degrees and then they pivot the other direction when you get to the next round in there. So they turn, there's like a little turret that they turn. So they're stacked in there perpendicular to the bore. And then once they get down to the chamber, then they flip in line with the bore. It's very, very weird.
So you have to kind of like help them turn as you load them?
Well, it's just you have to put pressure on it. It has like a camming action that when you push the round in and then it starts to turn. But like we've dropped a few of those mags and the lips cracked and stuff, and it just kind of turned me off on the whole idea.
Huh.
But they're cool. They're fun.
I was going to say that might be why Jake has so many children, so they can load his magazines for him.
Yes.
Then it's not a problem if someone else is loading your mags.
Yeah, I mean, the math checks out.
I just have to be able to afford all the magazines and ammo.
All the magazines, yeah. So we're talking 1022s earlier. Have you ever seen a P90 1022 where you bolted around it and everything? No, it's not airsoft. There's a company that makes a chassis.
Archangel or whatever? Do they make that?
No, I think he's talking about was it Atlas Defense or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Atlas? I don't know how you ever pronounce these. This is the problem with podcasts.
I don't know who makes it. I just saw it at a gun show one time. It looked awful because it was like the plastic was. Don't Google P90 Ruger because that comes up with the pistol. By the way,
here I'm going to put the link in the show notes. I think this is the one you're talking about, but you correct me if I'm wrong.
Holy crap! I just was looking for P90s on Gunbroker, and here's a post-sample machine gun, new in box, starting bid $2,350.
Yeah, it's post-sample, so you have to have a SOT and the ability to get it there.
I see.
Yeah, so like you can get an MP5 for, a couple $1,000 post-sample machine gun, but pre-ban is what, 15 grand or 30 grand or whatever they are. So yeah, it's that post-samples, you have to make them, as a licensed manufacturer.
So I'm open up the link that you've got here.
Oh, you're different. Yeah, that's a different one.
Yeah, it is different. Hightower Armory. So it looks like a P90, but when I saw them, their pictures are so small. When I saw them at the gun show, the plastic looked awful. It looks like the cheapest plastic you could get.
Gosh, they want $270 for it, so you think it'd be better than that. Yeah, I was thinking of the ZK22. If you look at that, that's kind of P90-esque, but a little different.
Yeah.
That's $250. It's a lot of money still.
All right.
A lot of money.
We're running a little long. So, Aaron, where can people find the Off-Road Podcast and find you guys online?
Well, we're on the Firearms Radio Network. That's one of the first places you can find us. Thanks for putting that together, Jake.
My pleasure.
We're also, we're also offroadpodcast@gmail.com, Facebook/Offroad Podcast. We've got a YouTube channel. I'm not going to tell you all the letters, numbers, and symbols for that one because we're not important enough to have our own link yet. And we're on Instagram @Offroad Podcast.
Very cool. And Zach, where can people find you online?
Oh, YouTube would be the easiest thing. There'll be a link. We have to figure out how to do these giveaways. I want to give away some of this stuff to people, and I'm not sure how to do it properly, so we need to figure out a good way.
Sounds like you need an app for that.
I don't know if you can give away gun stuff. That might be app unfriendly.
Oh, there's got to be something. All right, links are all in the show notes. Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. Check out the Patch of the Month Club, and also head over to Facebook and look for the Patriot Patch Buy Sell Trade Facebook group as well. And we're on Instagram, everywhere else, patriotpatch.co. And Ryan Cross, Hunter Design. Ryan designs all the awesome artwork for this show and for Patriot Patch Company. If you need custom website design or logo artwork, head on over to hunterofdesign.com.
You guys got to go see the descriptions that they write over at Grey Ghost. I was looking at some of the descriptions for some of the bags he sent me for this article, and they are comedy gold.
He's a really, really good copywriter too. Yeah. So remember to subscribe in iTunes. Don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, and check out all the other awesome shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Well, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll when you release this episode, I'll listen to it, and maybe I'll give you some iTunes feedback.
Great.
Contingent on your performance.
Yeah.
Zach, thanks so much.
Yep, no problem.
That's a wrap, and we'll see you next episode.
How's it going? I'm Zach. I don't know if we've ever met, actually.
We never have. I'm Aaron.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
Is it a drinking podcast?
This is Diet Coke, but yeah, you do whatever you want. You do you.
I always joke that I podcast with no pants on.
I'm in flip-flops if it helps.
This is an alcohol-free podcast. Thank you. We can't risk offending our Mormon listeners.
All two of them.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about that on the show?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your move and everything.
Okay.
And, have your credit card and Social Security numbers handy, too.
Well, luckily I picked up a wallet off the street today. I'll be able to get that information for you. Hector Rodriguez. Zach, are you friends with Ryan Cross?
Oh, I know him. I'm friendly. I've met him at shows and stuff, but I'm not like I'm into his house or anything. But yeah.
He quit his job the same day I quit my job. I called him up and said, it's like lunchtime. Hey, what are you doing? Just quit my job. I was like, no, I just quit my job. Let's go to the gun range. And so we went to the gun range that day together. It's awesome. We had lunch at Red Robin with bottomless root beer floats, and then we went to the gun range, sick to our stomachs.
I was gonna say that's not a good combo.
Oh, it was a great day. It was sunny out. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't warn me on the first episode when the show actually started, so I was spouting off, talking all sorts of crap, and who knows what made it.
I cut out all the racist stuff, so you're
okay, good. Oh wait, you mean your anti-Tennessee racism?
No, he didn't cut out any of that, or if he did, he cut out the worst stuff.
Well, Jake was the anti-Tennessee person.
Yeah, it was great. You guys, that was really good banter.
Yeah, we had a guy. I was saving for the show. Jake, go ahead.
Oh, this is a show.
I thought. Well, where was your radio voice that you sound fake at?
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv.